This is actually a pretty big day for us long-term Tesla stock investors because Tesla just delivered on every single thing that they said they were going to deliver in September. Looking at Tesla, this is a shift because often we hear a lot of things and then nothing really happens. But now we do have the Cybertruck FSD officially launched, and finally we do have end-to-end on the highway for the first time. So this is great news because now we have a lot more trust when it comes to what Tesla itself says. Elon is often too optimistic with his timelines, but looking at this, every single thing pretty much has come true. You can argue about this point a little bit, but from what I've seen, people say about the latest newest FSD version, it is significantly better than this one, although that could be still up for debate. And the funniest part about this whole thing is there was this article published just now, 10 months after release, Tesla Cybertruck still missing key technology, FSD. Oh, it's now outdated, just 15 hours it was published. The Tesla team here is performing so well that Omar is asking Elon what kind of cocaine is he giving to the Tesla team and where can he get some. Definitely stay off drugs, but Omar also agrees that Tesla has nailed every single thing on that list. And I definitely share the same sentiment as Sawyer here. I gotta hand it to the Tesla FSD and the AI team. When I first saw the list of goals for September, it looked like it would be tough to meet them all. And I said that the end-to-end highway thing, I'm certainly expecting a delay. And technically, it only went out to some Cybertrucks, so it's not in all of Tesla's vehicles, but for the first time, we are seeing it in a vehicle that a customer can buy. It's not just an employee. So I didn't have my expectations that high for some of the items on the list, but Tesla delivered. There's a little caveat that some September items haven't been rolled out widely yet, but I would still call it a success. I definitely agree with Sawyer. So now that we got the September list done, I have pretty good faith in Tesla, or a reason to believe that Tesla is actually going to deliver on the rest of the list here. So unpark and park and reverse in FSD. Okay, that's coming next month in October. And then V13 with 6x improved miles between necessary interventions. So we are definitely, based on this list, seeing a new FSD version, which should be a major improvement because it's going to be V13. So that's really good news. I'm looking forward to that. And then in Q1 of next year, we should see FSD in Europe, pending regulatory approval, and FSD in China. However, I would not keep my hopes very high anymore for FSD in China because if you heard, the administration in the US basically wants to ban all of self-driving technology that would come from China to the US. So I would expect China to also retaliate, but that's likely to happen quite a bit later because for now, China would just say, oh, you know what? We haven't really figured this technology out and looks like Tesla is by far ahead of everyone else. So we're going to try to, just take it from you guys. So for some period of time, there is actually a pretty good chance that Tesla could have FSD working and used by many Tesla customers in China. But if the US really goes forward with that policy of banning the Chinese full self-driving technology and any kind of chips like that, yeah, I definitely wouldn't keep my hopes high for Tesla's FSD in China, but that's irrelevant because then that means Tesla for sure has the rest of the world pretty much all to itself. Because I really think the only real competition we need to actually worry about is going to come from China. So if we don't have that, then Tesla is just going to conquer the rest of the world. We may not have China, but okay, then we don't have competition elsewhere. And technically, there is a new FSD version going out, 12.5.5. This version gives you FSD if you have a Cybertruck, as well as end-to-end on highway. The end-to-end thing is actually quite a big deal. I find that FSD makes decisions pretty well in the cities usually, but on the highway, it's very mechanical and sometimes that's good and sometimes it's like, why did you do that? That makes no sense, but I understand because you were programmed, you did that. Okay, that's fine. It means I really need to pay attention. There are a few other improvements as well. For example, improvements when it comes to parking lots and intersections, and something called speed profiles are coming soon. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but it does sound like something many Tesla FSD users are going to like. And Prasad is actually really accurate here. Self-driving metal triangles. This is officially a correct statement you can make in 2024. Okay, and Omar tested FSD on Cybertruck. He says not quite ready for wide release and needs a bit more tuning for the larger vehicle, but overall it's just like FSD on any other vehicle. It's able to make tight lane changes and behave just like other cars. End-to-end highway visualization looks very smooth too. Some accounts have been making messages like this, which at first appears like there's nothing here, but actually there is a meaning behind these messages. These are basically just encrypted words, but if you copy that and paste it into Grok or ChatGPT or something like that, you can actually decode it. And Tesla Scope is basically predicting that there's going to be an unsupervised FSD version released on October 10th. I'm not really so confident about that, but if that happens, okay, I'll take it. And with that, Tesla stock would immediately skyrocket, and eventually one day that will happen, and I will probably be somewhat caught off guard because likely it is going to happen fairly quickly. So in the long term, I know it's going to happen, but in the short term, eventually one day I will probably be pleasantly surprised, but I don't think it's going to be on October 10th, unless it's some other year. In the meantime, though, we can enjoy supervised FSD, and really, for some moments of time, it almost feels like unsupervised FSD because you just sit there and you just watch the car drive and you do basically nothing. Tesla will soon report deliveries, and that's expected to happen on Wednesday, and most of Wall Street indicates sales are up from the same time a year ago, which is not really a very high bar because if you remember, we had the Model 3 refresh, which lowered the sales, but still, it's 460,000 deliveries. And there's this website where you can basically bet money, and if you guess right, you will make money. This is about Tesla's deliveries. For example, you can bet money that Tesla will deliver more than 460,000. And if you are right, you might make some money. So based on people betting money, the current consensus is 467,000 deliveries. Elon Musk posted this to his main timeline, getting millions of views. This is about lidar being a crutch. Elon was right. Look at these lidar companies down 91%. And I think that's counting from here. So if you count from the top, it's down a lot more than that. Here's another one. Oof, 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 oof. I also noticed when Elon Musk posts or reposts, or even when he replies to a post on X, he often replies to the thing at the very bottom. So I'm pretty sure that he actually read the whole thing. And look at this. Ray said that we will see further proof on October 10th that basically lidar is dead. So I'm pretty sure that is going to be further emphasized by Tesla and Elon Musk that they are not going to use lidar. And yet somehow these people were stuck with lidar. They couldn't use their brains. It's like there were no signs, really. Yeah, like say 1 billion humans with a vision only dual camera system driving cars today, billions of them. Oh wait, that's exactly the situation. I will never understand the level of derp needed to ignore 1 billion proofs of concept for pure vision. Steven is definitely right there. Vanguard is also buying a lot of Tesla stock here. We see 17 million shares. So if they keep buying Tesla stock at this rate, in 2025, they will have more shares than Elon Musk. Keep in mind, there's just a lot of indexing though, so it's not really major news, but it's still nice to look at Vanguard there as well. And Elon also just said this: if I were another car company, I would license FSD. I mean, it's at this point, it's so obvious that you should, but if they did, they would have realized much sooner that EVs will be the future. So yeah, they didn't. So they are not learning from their mistakes here. Tesla also made a pretty cool announcement here. 1 million EVs exported from Giga Shanghai. This is truly incredible. A massive congratulations goes to the Giga Shanghai team. Also, look at these posts. How many views they get when Elon Musk puts them on his main timeline? 46 million views. If you think that this is not going to sell any Teslas, you are mistaken. And if you became a Tesla stock investor in early 2019 like I have, and if you followed the company for a little bit before then as well, you clearly remember the Giga Shanghai field was just field of dirt and mud, and now look at what it has done. And here's some good news from Spain for Tesla. This is the first time that a BEV in Spain has exceeded 2,000 units registered in a month. And if you look at this chart very closely, you'll see it's a Model 3 It's not even a Model Y. In Europe, people do like smaller cars. In some cases, they actually prefer them. And currently, at this point, if I had to choose between a Model 3 and a Model Y, even if I, let's say, overall like slightly bigger cars, therefore I would have a natural preference for a Model Y. Because the Model Y has not been refreshed yet, I would still tilt towards the Model 3. Now, I actually like smaller cars. Or to be more specific, more nimble cars, so not necessarily an SUV, but a more sporty feel that you can, turn quickly and you're more nimble on the road and you're faster. Although after one workout, I sort of very slightly pulled my back and I was getting into my Tesla and I was like, oh, I realized why people like taller cars. It's much easier to get into them. This is something we definitely want to pay attention to. Construction of Tesla's upcoming Shanghai Megapack factory is now 60% complete in just 4 months. After construction started, there's a new record. Construction was 45% complete 1 month ago and now it's 60%. This is going really fast. Below is an official rendering of what the factory will look like when complete. So initial capacity, we know it's going to be 10,000 units. The new factory covers an area of 200,000 square meters, which is 2 million-ish square feet. Look at this beautiful money printer, which will also improve the environment and provide us with better energy security. All noble things. Yeah, we are definitely seeing this thing launch and producing Megapacks in fairly significant quantities next year. Now, we got 3 months remaining this year, so if you want to be really technical and if you're into math like I am, if in 1 month Tesla continues completing 15% more of the factory, that means it's going to be finished in less than 3 months, so therefore technically it could be launched this year. But given that construction started in May, wow, I just continue to be amazed by the Tesla team in China. Why Tesla is right to give Musk a $56 billion pay package, which is an article from Fortune. Hold on a second. I'm trying to pinch myself. I'm trying to wake up from this dream, but how come I'm not waking up? Is this a fair article about Tesla and Elon Musk from the mainstream media? How is this possible? How am I not dreaming? I must be dreaming, but I'm not. What's going on? They are literally saying that Tesla is right to give Musk a $56 billion package. Most casual observers and even many media reports, you mean pretty much all of them, are failing to understand the nature of the package. Based on our research as finance professors, our conclusion is that Musk was unlikely to earn anywhere near that much at the time of the grant, and if he did, it would be well deserved. In the end, consider a simple question. Would you share 1% of the gains every time a company CEO doubles your money? Tesla shareholders decided they would. Seriously, a mainstream media article about Tesla's compensation package to Elon Musk, which makes sense. This is not something that I would ever imagine would happen when I wake up in the morning. I never imagine a day where I wake up and I see completely fair coverage about Elon Musk, and definitely not about the pay package. I am genuinely stunned here. Seriously stunned. Oh, look at this. Tesla continues sending these cryptic images to us. This one was posted on the Tesla Korea account. They also posted this yesterday. Okay, Tesla before major events, often they have these hidden messages. So there's definitely something hidden here with meaning. So naturally, Omar tried to decode the message. He says Tesla Korea has pre-announced Q3 delivery numbers. You mean delivery numbers, right? Eventually, a lot of legacy auto is going to announce zeros because they're going to go bankrupt. That makes sense. So there was this EV experience event held in Netherlands. 200 plus Tesla test drives were given alone, and that's of course great advertising, and the Cybertruck just completely stole the whole show. James is going to announce his final delivery estimate later today, and his estimates are usually fairly decent. And currently, his number is 475,000. That's not his final number, but that's about the consensus. If you're tracking the delivery numbers closely, they will be announced at 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. Oh, there's something that you absolutely need to know, which is misleading everyone right now. This is about Waymo specifically, and this goes This is very significant. You know how before I said that some of these companies ran through red lights and these did not count as critical disengagements reported in their data? Well, there's something just as important as that right here. Pay close attention because you will need to use this when you argue against anyone about FSD when they bring up, oh, but how about Waymo? Oh, you're in for a surprise right here. According to this part right here, 227.50, reporting disengagement of autonomous mode, Waymo must report the party that initiated the disengagement, including autonomous technology, autonomous vehicle test driver, remote operator, or passenger. However, if you look at the actual report, you'll see that all 15 disengagements are in-field retrievals with 0 remote operator interventions listed. So we are not saying that Waymo is doing anything illegal, because what they are doing is actually really clever. It means that there will never be a remote operator remotely turning the wheel, and the autonomous system is never deactivated during remote assistance. Remote manual assistance is limited to the path planner, like drawing waypoints to guide the car or answering questions to help the car understand the context, while the car is still in control of the wheel and pedals. Another way to understand this is that while Tesla uses an end-to-end neural network-based path planner, Waymo employs a hybrid planner that leverages both neural networks and occasional human assistance. I guess there's a regulatory loophole where, as long as the autonomous system remains activated, human assistance doesn't count, wait for it, as a disengagement. So any intervention data that you see from Waymo, any disengagement data, is basically all complete BS. It's not going to be anywhere near accurate. In other words, Tesla could also use the same kind of thinking or approach to solving this problem and already deploy robo-taxis. For example, when FSD is uncertain about the appropriate speed, it calls home for help. Remote operators respond by filing in the blank, suggesting, not ordering it, but suggesting to drive at this speed. By doing this, according to the community tracker, 12.71% of all disengagements, for example, wrong speed, are automatically solved. Number 2, when FSD doesn't know which lane to take, it slows down and calls home. Remote operators again click on their screen, suggesting, not ordering. No, that would be a disengagement. Suggesting which lane to take, and voila, 33.91% of all disengagements, so lane issues, are automatically solved. I'm going to stop here. These 2 points help Tesla solve half of the issues where they struggle to make progress, so you're welcome. Tesla bears will really not like seeing this post here. They will just completely ignore it and say, but the data says there are no disengagements. But that data is all nonsense anyway, to begin with. Omar has a few ideas for Tesla. He says FSD is now regularly able to complete entire drives perfectly for him, but 2 things are driving him nuts. Number 1, it won't start driving. It sucks to have a perfect intervention-free drive ruined by the need to intervene in the first 30 seconds every time. Number 2, attention monitoring now doesn't activate right away and makes me touch the wheel once to answer the nag. This is so annoying. It is the only time I have to touch the wheel the entire drive. Why is this happening? That's not so clear. So if Tesla could solve these 2 things, he could record the car doing real ride shares for hours with no problem. Some of these videos would certainly go viral. This is actually no issue on 12.3.6, but 12.5 FSD does need a quick push. There is one more complaint. Number 3 was, an Omar agreed with it, drives below max speed or even speed limit. So imagine being at a point now where one of the biggest complaints about the whole system, which drives you from any place in the world to any place in the world, as long as you limit that to Canada and the US. The biggest complaint is it drives below a max speed or even speed limit. So just a little bit slower than needed. That's the biggest complaint. Or specifically, the 3rd biggest complaint. Well, I haven't checked this out. Joe Tagmeyer drove on FSD 12.5.4 from San Antonio to Giga Texas and back. And as we all know, if you followed him, he has been sometimes brutally honest with FSD, and he's been a bit critical about some challenges and issues, while of course remaining optimistic about its future. So he is not going to just say, oh, it works great, when in reality, in most cases, it's just not working for him. So with that being said, for the first time ever, he just had his Model 3 with FSD drive him from the launching point at Giga Texas all the way to his house without any inputs from him. And this is not exactly a short drive. This is 90 minutes of driving roughly. So that's a pretty big deal. I saw this. So this Tesla ran into geese, not over them, but it just drove around them. But they had to back up first. So yeah, ASS. It can handle some challenging situations too. There's some news for Elon Musk from Brazil. X can now be immediately unblocked in Brazil after it pays a $1.9 million fine, according to a Supreme Court filing. So it appears like that situation is de-escalating a little bit, maybe. Coming back to EVs, Volkswagen has cut its annual outlook for the second time in less than 3 months, citing a weaker than expected demand for vehicles that people find not as desirable. Volkswagen now expects 240,000 fewer vehicle deliveries than before. They expect to deliver 9 million cars, down from 9.24. And for a long time, this trend is likely to continue as they fail to make a proper transition to EVs. Well, this is a bit unfortunate. This is a CATL battery factory in China. There's a big fire and it burned for many hours. Luckily, no injuries. Now, does this factory supply batteries to Tesla? The limiting factor account expressed doubt that this factory supplies batteries to Tesla, because this factory is fairly far away from Tesla's factory. But even if it did, there's a statement from CATL: the number of affected products is small and the impact on the company's overall production is small. Rivian CEO praised Tesla's supercharger, saying that it's the #1 charging network, obviously, with its very high density and record high average uptime of 99.97%. He said that Tesla has been a great partner for them. Ooh, look at Stellantis. They are adjusting their outlook. Their cash flow just went from expected to be positive to now -5 to $10 billion. Okay. A company like Tesla, obviously the stock is very volatile, but some of these mature companies, they're supposed to be pretty stable companies. And look at this. Stellantis is down 48% from the recent March 2024 high. So just this year, it was much higher. That's quite a drop for a bigger company. Or let me correct myself. It's not necessarily bigger because we're speaking about Tesla. But relatively speaking, it's supposed to be a mature company, and mature companies should be stable companies. Not in this case. The stock today alone is down 13%. Wow. It's been a while since Tesla cut its prices, if we exclude financing. But look at Volkswagen. It just slashed prices on the ID.3 EV, its fully electric Golf, by $8,000. Okay, that's a major price cut. I'm wondering, as a Tesla stock investor strictly here, if Elon's backed candidate wins, how much busier will he be going forward? And I think we can find some hints to answer that question here. I hope to be helpful in this regard, says Elon Musk in reply to this post, where his candidate said, I'm going to get Elon Musk. He's going to be our cost cutter. I think he can save trillions of dollars. I don't think I can get him full time, which we as Tesla stock investors like to see, because that means Elon will still have time to spend at Tesla, as well as his other companies, of course. The statement continues here. He's a little bit busy sending rockets up and all the things he does. Okay, so we pretty much know from original source that Elon Musk is not going to be involved full time. And I'm here not making any political statements. I'm just trying to figure out how seriously is Elon Musk taking this, which would then reflect how much time he would be spending on this whole thing. And it seems like he's taking it extremely seriously. He said, very few Americans realize that if his political candidate is not elected, this will be the last election. Far from being a threat to democracy, he is the only way to save it. These are some very strong statements. So because the statements are that strong, if Elon Musk decides to pursue this full time, I would actually not be that surprised. But by full time, I think the chances are more that he's spending more time right now to help his candidate to be elected. Because if we take his words here as pure truth of what he thinks, you would think that Elon Musk would be doing everything he possibly can, or as much as he can, to make sure that what he's afraid of does not happen. If you're happy with how much time Elon Musk is spending at Tesla right now, I think we won't mind how much time he's going to be spending doing the other political stuff if he does get into that position. I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but if you are interested in Elon's political opinions, definitely pause and read this in full. This basically summarizes everything pretty well, and Elon made many more statements on X. I'm going to be pretty busy this week and maybe part of next week as well, so expect the next video from me at the end of this week, maybe on Friday, and then probably another video after that next week. I'm working on a few pretty big changes behind the scenes. Maybe I'll cover some of them in the next few months. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.